Hey, it's Tim with the University of Vinyl. I'm back today with episode 5 of my continuing series highlighting different iconic recording studios and 5 albums that I have in my collection that were recorded there. In today's video, I want to feature a really cool recording studio in upstate New York, not far from the mythical town of Woodstock, New York. And the recording studio is called Dreamland Studios. Now, Dreamland Studios is a pretty unique place. It was originally opened in 1986 in a century-old, beautiful church. The people behind the studio who started it in 1986 were tired of the sterile, city-based recording studios, and they wanted something that actually would be a respite from the city. It would be a place where creativity could bloom out in among nature in a beautiful old setting. Now, the cool thing about this studio is it has some outbuildings where the band and crew can actually stay. So I think they have, their website's really well done. And I think they have, since 2005, a new investor, Jerry Morata, famous drummer, played on many, many albums with Peter Gabriel and many others. He is a co-owner of the studio now, and they did a lot of remodeling and refurbishment work back in the early 2000s. Up to 2010. Dreamland Studios has the best of all worlds. It has first of all, they have modern recording facilities. They have a vintage board, a Neve board, I believe, to bring this music to life and mix everything down. They have a wealth of vintage gear, including rare microphones, amps, vintage guitars, etc. And then, the live room has almost a perfect acoustic environment with the chapel and everything there. And you have gorgeous century-old wooden beams and woodwork that is acting as a natural baffling and perfect acoustic elements to record. So that's today's studio, Dreamland Recording Studios in upstate New York. Stay tuned for 5 awesome albums that were recorded there. Released in 1994 is one of my favorite albums of the 90s, and that was This Perfect World by Freddy Johnston. Now, when this album was released in 94, it came out on CD. It was never released on vinyl. Freddy Johnston actually did a Kickstarter campaign, I think back in 2018, and the album was eventually released in 2019 on vinyl for the first time. You can find this album on Discogs. It is highly recommended. First of all, this is an incredible set of songs. When this came out, Freddy Johnston was kind of a regional player in the US. The album is mixed with, some melancholy, but at the same time, there's plenty of kind of jingle jangle sunshine that kind of comes through the darker parts of the album. This is really, really well recorded. This was mastered at Masterdisc by Scott Hull. There is a look at the label. Again, just came out in 2019. You can find copies of this on Discogs. But this was recorded at Dreamland Recording Studios, and it is a gorgeous, gorgeous album. One of my favorites from the 90s. Standout songs on this thing are the title track, This Perfect World, of course, Bad Reputation, really atmospheric. Evie's Tears is a great song. I also love the song Disappointed Man. That is This Perfect World by Freddy Johnston. In 1988, the B-52s weren't sure if they were going to continue as a band after the tragic early death of Ricky Wilson, the lead guitar player. Cindy Wilson has said in interviews that she didn't think she was up for it. And, also Keith Strickland, originally the drummer, he decided to move to upstate New York, I think in 1986, searching for answers in his life, and fell in love with the area around Woodstock. Started working on some new song ideas, and eventually got the rest of the band together. What happened was the remarkable comeback album, that was Cosmic Thing, which was released in May of 1989. Now, half of this album was produced by Nile Rodgers in New York City in a couple different studios, and then the rest of the album, including the smash Love Shack, was produced by Don Was at Dreamland Studios. I happen to have the MoFi Silver label. Picked this up recently for the original price, thank God. And this thing sounds amazing. This is this is a fantastic, well-recorded album. Interestingly enough, in the liner notes, really nice, typical great quality by MoFi. But in the liner notes, there's a great blurb in here saying, with the Nile Rodgers sessions, all the Nile Rodgers cuts were recorded digitally and mixed to analog. All Don Was tracks were recorded and mixed analog. So we do have a little bit of a key as far as the Don Was tracks on the album are Love Shack, Junebug, Bushfire, and Channel Z. I love Channel Z, as well as the song coming after that, Topaz, Rome. The title track is a really nice return to form for the B-52s. When you put this album on, for me, it sends me back to 1989. I had just moved to Chicago. I was finishing up college, and first time living in the big city. I was having the time of my life, and I remember this album was all over WXRT in Chicago, the famous alternative rock station, still around, 93.1 on your FM dial. And this thing was all over the place in the summer of '89 and even into 1990. That is Cosmic Thing, the B-52s, recorded at Dreamland Studios and released in the spring of 1989. The summer of 1984, Jay Mascis was dealing with kind of a retooled Dinosaur Junior. Lou Barlow had left a few years earlier. He was replaced by Mike Johnson on bass and rhythm guitar. In 1993, Patrick Murphy, the incredible drummer for Dinosaur Junior, left the band as well. So Dinosaur Junior in 1994 was basically a duo. It was Jay Mascis, of course, on all the lead guitar work, the incendiary guitar player that he is, and he also stepped into the drum chair during the recording sessions and laid down all the drum tracks for this incredible album, which is Without a Sound. This is a 2019 reissue. This is a really nice gatefold package, double record set. The second record are studio outtakes and some live tracks. This thing was the most commercially successful Dinosaur Junior album, even though it only features one of the original players on the group, or in the group. The reason this thing did so well is there was the great, very catchy lead single from the album, and that was Feel the Pain. Feel the Pain featured a fantastic MTV video that got tons of airplay. That song shot up the alternative rock charts in 1994. And it was a fun video. You know, Jay Mascis and Mike Johnson were in Manhattan, riding around in a golf cart and hitting golf balls in Central Park, etc. If you have not seen that video, check it out on YouTube. It's pretty funny. Also, it brought a little bit of levity. You know, the summer of 1994, there was a lot of depression from younger adults. Kurt Cobain had killed himself in April of 94. The whole grunge situation was kind of reaching, maybe coming near the end, especially after Cobain's death. But this album really charted well for Jay Mascis. And they would go on to do another album in 1997, at which point Jay Mascis kind of put a halt to Dinosaur Junior before they reformed back with Barlow and Murph on drums in 2007. So they took a 10-year break. This reissue sounds quite good on vinyl. It's got a kind of a crazy colored vinyl, but I'm happy with the sound on this thing. This is a great album. You know, in addition to Feel the Pain, there are some more low-key acoustic-based numbers that are my favorites on the album. The songs Out of Hand, Mind Glow, and on side 2 seemed like the thing to do. These are gorgeous atmospheric songs, and Mascis, in some cases, it's just him on acoustic. I think Mike Johnson is playing Mellotron on Feels Like the Thing to Do. So, you know, if you haven't heard this album before, or you are familiar with Dinosaur Junior and have forgotten about it, it's highly recommended. It was recorded at Dreamland Studios in the winter, I think, of 1994. Eventually released in August of that year. A band that was actually based out of New York and upstate New York was 10,000 Maniacs. Famously, the fantastic voice of Natalie Merchant. I loved Robert Buck on guitar as well, with the original carnation of that band. Natalie Merchant, after the album I'm going to talk about, I think she did 1 or 2 more 10,000 Maniacs albums before she went solo. But the album I'm talking about today that was recorded at Dreamland is Blind Man's Zoo. This is a 1989 album. I've got an original pressing. This was a highly anticipated album because 10,000 Maniacs were basically on the verge of breaking big time nationally. The previous album, In My Tribe, had Hey Jack Kerouac and What's the Matter Here? What's the Matter Here? Really did well on MTV and, you know, alternative radio. And they were really starting to make a name for themselves. And this was a very well-regarded album when it was released. This is the band on the back cover. This is a great sounding album. It was mastered at the Mastering Lab. So Doug Sachs and Mike Reeves were behind this. You will find in the Dead Wax the TML for the Mastering Lab on side A and side B. It was on the Elektra label. I also have a specialty record corporation pressing, SRC. You'll find that in the Dead Wax as well. These SRC pressings sound great. This is a strong album. I think it lived up to expectations as far as the critics were, what they were hoping for. And Another thing, interesting little tidbit. Go ahead and put in 10,000 Maniacs Letterman into YouTube. Dave Letterman loved Natalie Merchant. It was no secret, and you can kind of see that on the screen. But he, anytime they had a single from several albums, he had Natalie Merchant on. But the other cool thing about this band, of course, was I think I mentioned him earlier. Robert Buck, incredible guitar player, died too young. I think of some kind of a cancer, some disease. But he was a great guitar player and really had a great feel and a good composer as well. The Robert Buck, R.I.P. That is Blind Man Zoo, released in '89, recorded at Dreamland Studios. Last but not least, one of my favorite bands came out with another album in the fall of 2019. They documented, as part of the lead up to the release of the album, they documented the recording of the album, which took place at Dreamland, and that is Beneath the Eerie, the 2019 Pixies album. Of course, you know, after Kim Deal left the band, she was replaced by Paz LeChantin. Paz is a great player. She actually has some co-writing credits on a couple songs on this album. Joey Santiago is all over, and he's amazing. He's amazing on this thing, all over the album. Sounds great. A killer guitar player. Of course, David Lovering on drums, very rock solid. Black Francis, his voice has deepened a little bit. But he has some excellent compositions on this album. It's highly recommended. Really nice kind of heavyweight vinyl pressing. This was on Infectious Records. There's a shot of the label. Really nice, beautifully done gatefold package. Standout songs for me are Catfish Kate, Graveyard Hill.
Fish to put inside a favorite dish. A catfish grabbed her by the head and took her to his house instead. Where is my angel falling?
You know, Black Francis said that they actually were kind of spooked up there, and someone actually thought they saw a ghost. So a lot of these songs are kind of infected with some atmospherics and a little bit of spookiness, but it's a great album, a fine Pixies album at this late stage in their career. Definitely happy to have it in my collection. Also, some other cool songs I'm just thinking here. Bird of Prey and Daniel Boone on side 2. Great album, and this is important, I think, for the Pixies because since 2004 now, they've been kind of reformed and playing countless tours. They really needed a few more strong, fresh songs to kind of mix into their set because I'm sure if I was them, I would have gotten bored big time. You know, 15 years down the line from reforming, doing the same set night in and night out. So this is nice, along with the previous album, Head Carrier. They now have some cool songs to kind of throw into the mix. This is Beneath the Eerie. This was recorded at Dreamland Studios. The entire band was up there for like a 2-week period. And there is a cool podcast. I think it's called A Pixies Podcast, which documents the sessions that happened at Dreamland in real time. You know, they were interviewing Black Francis over, you know, coffee in the morning at the kitchen table at one of the outbuildings next to the church. So very cool listen. That is Beneath the Eerie Pixies. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please, if you liked this video, if you liked this series, make sure you like the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'm wondering, where is the difficulty here? Just hit that little subscribe button and you will be notified whenever I drop a new video. I'm working on a new video right now. It involved me doing an outdoor shot, mowing my lawn. That's going to be coming out soon. Other things in University of Vinyl land, I have t-shirts that are available in my merch shop. There's a link in the description to today's video. I am actually wearing a silver logo shirt. Really nice soft cotton. I love it. I also have some very cool holographic stickers that I have ordered up. Those are sent directly from me to you if you elect to purchase a couple. Little secret, if you do purchase a couple, I usually throw in a couple extras. Because we want to spread the word about the University of Vinyl, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Tim, and I appreciate everyone, and we will see you very soon. Take care.